Welcome back, everybody. New split, new co-caster. I'm joined by the lovely Quacks here for this Immortal season. He's going to be joining us here for this one. We got a new co-caster. We also got some new teams running out for this split. We're going to go through them week by week as we see them. And, you'll be able to see them if you are in on our socials. You can check out, see how they are doing. But for now, let's talk about this Drop Dead Gaming team. Are defending champions of the league. They took out Omega Squad, which, at least from scrolling through what I've seen, they took Omega Squad out of Titan because they did not return. They might have taken them all the way out. They have a couple roster changes. Troy will be coming in for their legendary mid laner Neversaw, who helped them go to that championship last year.
Yeah, so a lot of stories being related on toward that Drop Dead squad. Obviously, like you said, defending champions never saw kind of the keys to the kingdom when it came to last Immortal split. Now has moved on, I believe, to the ACL. So good luck to them in that regard. But yeah, so Troy has really big shoes to fill, and I'm looking at a lot of these new picks. We're talking about new teams, new Immortal League, new caster. Also, very happy to be here as well, Cilantro. But new meta as well, right? Everything is brand new, shiny, squeaky clean, got that new car smell to go on with it. So I'm looking at a lot of these new powerful picks in the mid lane to really help Troy shine. And on the other side, we've got BOZ, sort of as I understand it, a newer squad in this kind of thing, a newer person toward that Titan League. So it's going to be interesting to see kind of how they mesh up against such a tall team like Drop Dead Gaming. As we are going into the draft, all of the bans have been fired away, and it's going to be the Yone nagged up first here.
Yep, champion is extremely strong, especially if he can. I think he goes that grass build. It's even more disgusting. And he is getting a buff next patch. So Pop is going to be a good R1 pickup for the side of the Boomers over Zoomers. It's going to be decent going up against this Yone. Will be top lane, will be jungle, will be support. It could go anywhere. We've seen Aurora already taken away. I'm sure, Worlds is playing on a different patch than us, but after what I've seen Aurora's do in Worlds, it's obvious why this champion with all these nerfs is still picked on up. Tristana is an interesting one, seen a little bit of a play late drop, but is a solid mid lane option. They could be looking to throw it into the 80 carry slot. It's just a farm safe kind of 80 carry pick. Now it's not too overpowered. Meanwhile, Navarre's rounding out the bot lane. Speaking of overpowered picks, they took away a little bit of his lethality scaling, but this champion is still extremely strong after the 3 buffs he got.
Yeah, I'm paired up with that Sejuani as well, so a decent amount of frontline coming through. A little bit of a lack of magic damage. Obviously, you do have that Yone who has the ability to deal that mixed damage, but I am assuming going forward that we're going to see Drop Dead Gaming try to index something in toward that, AP magic damage slot. And with Yone most likely going mid, that means maybe some possibility for an AP top laner. And obviously, the Gwen taken off the table already, so maybe we'll see a Mordekaiser in the future. For now, though, a few more bans coming through, being fired away. We see the LeBlanc taken off the table. Maybe that's going to be followed up by a Syndra, as on the other side, a Darius and Kennen are taken away. Really just, trying to read that this is going to be a Yone being slotted in toward that mid lane. And it's actually going to be the Rise rounding us out here. So the Cassandra was the last pick in this draft, newly refurbished as well for what has to be the 20th time. But still, this time around, it is still strong. It is still reliable in this kind of meta. And it's going to be the Ziggs going forward. Now, I really, again, want to see some magic damage coming out here from Drop Dead Gaming. I think Mordekaiser would be good if you want to take maybe the Tristana out of the fight, the Ziggs out of the fight, if you don't want these kind of zoning tools and that kind of push power that BOZ are drafting. If you want some zone control, I think that'll work really well. But instead, it is actually going to be an Orianna mid, the Yone gonna be top, and a Viego to round us out. Support. What is going on?
Unless there's some wacky stuff happening where we've got Varus Orianna support and Varus Orianna bot lane, Sejuani top, Yone mid, Viego jungle, like that. Maybe that's what Drop Dead wants to go for. Seen them whip out some crazy things into the past, so this is not sort of out of Drop Dead Gaming's wheelhouse. They want to go these crazy, they want to go these wacky picks. They kind of play a little bit off meta with a touch of the meta in there. We got that Sedge, we got that you got that Yone, all those champions are going to be coming on out. but they put their own twist on things. They play these certain champions in crazy positionings, and it works because they're so good at it, because it's their comfort, it's their wheelhouse, it's their playstyle. And right now, they're looking to make a statement already. Game number 1 of the split, defending their championship. Let's talk about Boomers over Zoomers just a little bit here as we head on over to the Rift. Now, this team may be a little bit new to Titan Immortal League, but they're not entirely new to competitive amateur gaming. We have got them in the BOL Master Squad, where they've been competing a little bit already, and they've rounded out about the middle of the pack right now with a 2-1 record. So they are looking pretty strong over there. Might be looking to make a dark horse run here, as we may not know them very well, and they take down these defending champions on game number 1. I mean, I'd be feeling a little bit like Top Esports today if I was them.
I certainly agree with that sentiment. Hey, I understood that reference, as I also watched Worlds, but for the most part, as we get into the game here, no real shenanigans coming on up. You can actually see Evil Lobster maybe trying to get a ward in. Will manage to put that down onto where the Raptors. The Kaz not able to take that one down. So some tracking going on toward the Amumu. And Amumu, very, very stock standard when it comes to what he wants to do. He very much is in the same wheelhouse as champions like Nocturne. You farm up, you get level 6 Curse of the Sad Mummy, a big team fight winning ultimate, paired up as well with the Super Mega Inferno Bomb. It really feels like BOZ have the opportunity to take the team fighting to Drop Dead Gaming. And Drop Dead Gaming as well, no stranger toward team fighting, as you know, their comp also suggests things like the Oriana, things like the Viego. Wanting to get those resets is absolutely critical if they want to go forward and win win this first game. And already, akin to the meta, we've got a lane swap, Cilantro.
Oh, yay! I had to watch how many games of this at Worlds? I totally wanted to come to work and watch it more. Yeah! Anyway, jokes all aside, I'm excited for this bot lane. Jordan bot is kind of a little bit known for the Sejuani support pick. And I'm going to be surprised if BOZ, maybe they scouted this out and they were able to play around it. We saw them play it a lot of times last split, and it worked phenomenally for this team. So this is not something that Drop Dead Gaming are just pulling out of nowhere. They have scrimmed it, they have practiced it, they've probably perfected it by now. Jordan Bot loving to pick up this champion. And so I'm going to be expecting them to play around this Sejuani. These roams, when she hits level 6, going to be coming up to this dragon. So even if they don't have that necessary prio at the moment, speaking of which, they're going to have it because nobody is responding to the bot lane right now. Free XP and farm for Brandy Fan. As an carry, not really something you want to give, but Vision of Empire might be getting 4v1, making a 4v2. Lobster versus bring out the flash there onto the Viego, getting caught out potentially. From Marquise into the bandage. Toss first blood going straight on over the moon, and the Ignite's going to take away 2. He gets both of those kills and gets out with their life. Marquez, it's a phenomenal 2-for-0 pick up as Kazi's going to TP into the bot lane.
Beautifully executed tower dive there, immediately getting 2 kills on toward the Amumu as well. So much needed gold, I would say, for a champion like this who is wanting to respond to a lot of these ganks, who like we said earlier, wants to get level 6. You just make this champion that much stronger going forward. And I have to think this is really going to hurt Vision of Empire on this Yone, already laning into a 2v1. Never gonna feel good, especially for a champion like Yone who wants that gold, who wants to be able to have kind of that dominant laning phase and go from there. Now you're in a very precarious situation where you don't have TP, you're laning in a 2v1 scenario, you need the gold but you can't quite get it, and if you even attempt to get it, you're gonna get slammed into a wall, you're gonna get bombs thrown at you, or water balloons, I suppose is appropriate for this game. And it really just sets what Drop Dead Gaming want to do behind and basically makes it non-existent. On the other side, they can't punish Kazi. This is a champion, K'Sante, who is so difficult to dive, and just they don't have the resources for it, they don't have the stacking wave. So this K'Sante going to be unpunished, and that top dive really going to net them some early pressure.
So a little bit of a thing we saw there as we path down in the camera too at the bot side there. This is what makes that Sejuani pick so strong. It's the counter jungle invades. And you got those double melee champions, Evil Lobster on Viego, Jordan bot on Sejuani. That is going to be a mega boost in these counter jungles. You take the camps much faster. You take a 2v1 10 times better, but it's only able to work if your bot lane has that prio, that wave under tower, because if somehow someone from the enemy bot side comes up, you're not winning a 3v2, unfortunately. So they kind of get a little bit of a value off this lane swap. Sante comes up, they still lose that, as Kaz is looking for an engage into Jordan Bot, looking to be able to come on up there, is trying to get some prio going into this next Void Grubs. Evil Lobsters over the wall is going to go into the Shroud just to be able to deny Kaz just a little bit vision, maybe scare him off, let him know that the Viego is there, but Noosh has already moved straight on up. Oh! Autos the ward and forces out a flash from Jordan Bot. That is extremely interesting as Marquez, Nooks, and Kaz are looking for this once again. TP's coming on out. That's going to be, I believe, Troy joining in onto the fray. Jordan Bot drops down to extremely weak. Mr. Empire going in for the kill. Is going to be able to find Marquez. And now can they push forward even more? Gets the stun off straight onto Gritty. Has to force the flash out on out. Trying to fire some more bombs. Kaz flashes in with the bandage. Able to pick up the third one. Can he get a fourth though? Mr. Empire goes in for the engage. W shield. Not nearly going to be enough. And Kaz is able to help find the fourth kill of the game for Boz.
Bit of an overzealous dive, but they managed to turn it around. Kaz on this Amumu, really knowing the limits of the champion, knowing that despite the numbers disadvantage, despite the Poppy going down in that exchange, they have the ability to go in. They know the strength of their champions. They know the strength of their comp. And they managed to punch back into that exchange. Also, really good reaction there from Gritty. Flashes away from danger, manages to buy some space, and then with the satchel charge, throws off the Yone, who was initially on top of the Zig, so manages to, again, create that space, and that's really what makes the difference, really what wins them the fight. And so far, despite a little bit too quick on the trigger in that dive, they are still in a very commanding lead so far in this game.
Yeah, but one thing we gotta mention though is that an entire gold lead is only on the Amumu. You got some assist kills, you got some assist gold popping up here and there. Ziggs was able to pick up one, but even so, the gold difference between these AD carries is not really much.
Oh, big shockwave.
Find two. Kaz, no flashes, remember, from the last previous fight. It's a big shutdown, but it goes over to Jordan Bot on this Sejuani. Mal trying to run down Marquez as they're going forward. Stun onto Gritty. Evil Lobster pops up that Amumu, gets the second bandage. So it's going to get the kill too. Yes, Troy able to pick up one. Another reset for Evil Lobster's going to use it just to be able to farm up the camps. So they get all three Void Grubs. They get 2 kills, one of them being a shutdown. Yes, it goes over to the Sejuani. Which is a little bit unfortunate, but it's going to make a little bit beefier in that bot side that is going to help out, especially on these roam timers as well. But Troy picking up the kill is the massive thing for DDG.
They managed to punch on back, and yeah, I credit a lot of that over toward Troy and Evil Lobster, the mid-jungle duo of the defending champions. Again, we said it in the draft that went, I will note, very quickly, so we didn't have a lot of time to say it, but Troy, big shoes to fill, and on this Orianna, seems like he's fitting those rather well. 2-man Shockwave really gets that fight going. Evil Lobster able to get the resets off of that. And this is exactly where we want to see this comp thrive. With the Viego, with it being able to get those Heartbreaker resets. And although the Viego just now dinging level 6, we haven't seen that yet. It does mean that with that fight win, Viego in a relatively good space, despite the Amumu being 3-1, you can see there is a slight CS difference, about 10 or 2.5 camps in favor of Evil Lobster so far. So it at least pads that early impact, that early dive, and what exactly it did toward Boomers over Zoomers. Now, about 8 minutes in toward the game, it kind of feels like the game returning to a little bit of normalcy. We still have the lane swap happening on the top side of the map, but it feels like Drop Dead Gaming have adapted there. So you can see getting Jordan Bot on up toward to cover any potential dives, any potential aggressive plays, and just making sure that what happened in those first couple of minutes cannot be repeated.
As on the Scuttlebug, maybe looking to pull this on over to a potential turret dive, third time around. As you mentioned, Jordan Bot is aware of this, and Evil Lobster is going to go ahead and start up this dragon. Early Void Grub stacking, early dragon stacking. That's exactly what this team wants because they are a scaling composition. The Yone is completely okay with where things are right now. Champion's going to be useful and quite moderately tanky no matter what later into the game. Troy scaling on this Orianna, Sejuani tank scaling, and for any fan obviously wanting to scale on up to Troy, almost be able to find the solo bolo onto Noosh, maybe still looking for it. Chunk damage should be able to force out the least recall now. Maybe Evil Lobster, we see a ping, does he want to look for it? Maybe at least cancel the recall. They gotta be careful though, because Kaz is just around the corner in the mid lane. Jordan Bot's gonna spot that one out, get those pings off, but I think he's still gonna be able to look for and find this Orianna. He's hiding in the mid bush, isn't really looking for it right now. Jordan Bot not hitting level 6 yet. Needs to get that before looking for some of these ganks. Troy caught out.
He still gets hit.
Anyway, a Mumu Curse of the Sad Mummy comes on out. Troy's dangerously low HP. Does not able to get out. As Noosh able to find the kill. Evil Lobster desperately looking for the reset, but that's the beauty of Tristana. She could just jump right on out after getting a kill, and Evil Lobster has to burn the flash.
A bit of a misplay coming out there from Troy. Gets the flash, but the bandage toss still lands. The CC chain still lands. The damage still finds its mark. And BOZ, Boomers over Zoomers, managing to get yet another kill. The neutrals, though, still in favor of Drop Dead Gaming, and I kind of want to circle on back to where that point you made about the Yone Cilantro. You said that this is a champion that is still, able to scale up, is still able to be relevant in the late game. Well, it's also a good ball delivery system, right? You get kind of that ultimate into the middle of Boomers over Zoomers. You get a big shockwave, so at the end of the day, I don't really think it matters whether or not this Yone is fed or not. As long as he's able to get into the middle of the fight, as long as he's able to create that space and grab everyone in for this Orianna, then he did his job, right? Whether or not he's fed, I feel like certainly is not as important, and that's kind of the big thing I was worried about going in toward this game. You've got a bunch of champions that can go in toward a lot of these fights, but a lot of them struggle with that immediate access into the middle of the team. Champions like Viego, who want to stay alive for the fight, are at risk of simply getting bursted down after the shockwave lands, after they brought everyone on Boomers over Zoomers quite closer together. Speaking of being close together, Evil Lobster might be close to death, but he's actually out. And that's six gross cilantros like that. Heist on that neutral objective and so hard. I mean, can they realistically wait if he's not here? No, I don't go for it. I don't go for it too. They have TP, they have a lot of the ability to react to this. I think they still force it. That's going to be the key to not go for it. Maybe it's too late. Boy ropes on up, right? They get killed. Win to the bot side. You see that the Glacial Prism is offline. I was just about to talk about this guy, Jordan, with this roaming potential already has been a massive nuisance, a massive threat on the Sejuani. He just says, hey, you want a lane swap? That's cool. I'm just going to go wherever I please. Now Christmas time on the online cast looking for it. TP's going to be coming on out. It is Troy going in. Gritty versus the flash on away. Vision Empire still looking to get the kill. The Satchel toss. Ignite maybe. No, not able to find much. And Long Marquise is able to get everybody out in the nick of time. So nothing ends up happening, but you didn't even burn Curse of the Sad Mummy. You had to burn Flash on Gritty. No other ultimates realistically were used or even used out of DDG. A bit of a mistimed dive at the end of the day. You could kind of see Kaz, instead of going for that Curse of the Sad Mummy, had to play defense for the Ziggs, for Gritty, who was getting just straight up targeted by Vision of Empires. No one ends up dying at the end of the day, though, so it is going to be everyone walking away. The only casualty of the map is going to be that bot lane turret. We haven't had a lot of time to really talk about the bot lane, and more specifically Branny fan on this Varus, who has now got that first item complete. The Blade of the Ruin King is in inventory, has 115 CS, so it still has a CS advantage over Gritty, despite them never interacting until now.
Oh no,
a lot of damage. Wow.
Not able to find the kill though, but did force out the chains of corruption. Jordanbot roaming back on up though, really close to having that Glacial Prism. Now finally can get a chance to talk about this guy. He was roaming permanently, being a nuisance no matter what. Now, level 6, they have to be afraid of this champion. It could be anywhere, anytime on the map, coming out of nowhere with a CC lockdown. That goes great with Troy's Shockwave. That could go great with this Chains of Corruption. It works well for Vision of Empire, being able to land that Fate Sealed. And maybe able to work well here. But 4 members are responding on a BOZ. Stun comes on out. No Chains of Corruption. Double Curse of the Sad Mummy. Noosh putting in the auto attacks. And they're able to find Evil Lobster. The execution is going to be done by Gritty. Jordanbot may be up next, but they don't want to continue to fight for it. Troy shows themselves, and they're going to decide to just back off a little bit. And now Jordanbot has to settle for the Honeydew Fruit. So you get a 1-for-0 trade-off in your favor. A little bit maybe of an overzealous dive there coming out of DDG, not knowing where the rest of the squad was. Meanwhile, Alfie uses the all-out. Flash was burned too, has to burn out that Fade Sealed, looking to continue to run down this. Yone has the level advantage and has that armor stacking, so he's definitely not afraid.
Yeah, Vision of Empire has the turret advantage, and he is just going to hide under that. Get away from the Cassante when he has the all-out. Now, not only is the Herald up, but the other Dragon is as well, so a lot of neutrals are on the board, and I want to see these teams reacting to this state of the map. You can already see that Drop Dead Gaming first on the trigger, looking to keep their perfect score of objectives kind of up, and really just make sure it's not contested. Curse of the Sad Mummy is not up, so despite Boomers over Zoomers trying to look for something, they don't have the teamfight ultimates, they don't have nearly as many tools, and they are just too late now. they're going to drop it mid lane, and they will get control of this side of the map, meaning they can easily transition on down toward this dragon. They're corralling boomers over zoomers in places they do not want to be, and just controlling the map all the while.
Yeah, that was a Chains of Corruption flash forward on an Evil Officer. It does get the reset, and that's an Amumu straight to the bandage toss. They're able to find two. Turret ends up falling into the top side, so it's a little bit of a trade-off, but that Baron still sitting into the pocket of Brennyfan. That turret is definitely killable with the Baron. Will he decide to drop it, though, or will he hold on to it for a little bit? And, nope, maybe. No, Evil Officer is wrapping around. Will drop that Baron now. They want to dive. Will they be able to catch out Noosh, though? Then maybe not. This Tristana can jump away. It gets a great stun off, but this Sante is there for the stoppage. He's going to have to use it just to be able to get on out. The dragon is spawned on up, so they don't want to be able to risk much of anything. Curse the Sad Mummy online, but so is the Glacial Prism. I'm going to be watching this. Where will it go? Who will this ball delivery system be on? Will it be on Vision of Empire with this Fate Field? He is in the bot lane. Orianna in the top lane right now. TP is going to be committed. That's going to be the Tristana. If I am DG, I'm saying go towards this dragon. That is a huge carry out of the fight, potentially into the respawn timer. Jordan bot in the top side too. Do they want to look for some sort of potential dive? Glacial Prison comes out, force out the flash. Troy flashes forward as well, and they've taken out that carry, and Jordan bot gets the kill. Will it be traded for Dragon, though? It's looking likely, as GDG are going to get this one up and instead opt for topside control.
Yeah, so finally Boomers over Zoomers managed to get their first objective of the game, but it's traded for a turret, it's traded for the map. You can see just how much of the top side is sort of owned here by Drop Dead Gaming. Boomers over Zoomers a little bit scared to walk into that side of the map, so they're all corralling toward this bot side, looking to get that bot lane turret, which Kazi has pushed on up toward. And I like this movement by Vision of Empires on the minimap. You can see he doesn't want to walk up, he's waiting for his team to reinforce him. All the while in the mid lane, we're just seeing Brandyfan now 3-0 onto the Varus continue to get so much gold injected in toward this pick. And although we haven't really seen it action-packed in, regards to team fights, it certainly has to be in Boomers over Zoomers' mind, as it is going to come out as a threat later on. Speaking of threats,
Marquez and Kaz are there. Poppy has ultimate. Not yet, though. Jordan bot is going to be able to cut off the retreat. TP is coming in. Troy maybe looking to join the fight. No, I don't know. I think a TP did get canceled there. No, Brandyfan TP didn't. Okay. Now Kaz is next on the target list. Has to use the satchel. It's a great knockup, but gets stunned into the true fake field. And, who needs to put the ball on Vision of Empire when you can throw the ball out and then Vision of Empire goes in? So, phenomenal team coordination coming on out here. They should be able to get a topside tier 2 for their troubles as well. It will be Noosh pushing in that topside, maybe trying to get a tier 2 as well. But, Troy will be able to be there. Will be able to respond. Should be able to shut this down. It may be a Tristana, but it's a Tristana without Void Grub, so she's not going to take it that fast.
And I mean, a lot of the identity of this Boomers over Zoomers squad hinged on them being able to get those early topside objectives in the Void Grubs, right? You've got a Ziggs, you've got a Tristana. Without them, really, your pushing power, your side lane threat doesn't exist. And you can see that this is the consequence now. All of that power given over to Drop Dead Gaming. And now some power may be taken away as Brandyfan is in trouble.
FX Presence stun straight onto Brandyfan. Engaged by Noosh as well, just to be able to pick up that kill. The shutdown goes on over to Gritty. Okay, that's an AP scaling champion. You just put a ton of gold on top of. Maybe this could be your win con angle back into this. This team really has to start playing through this Tristana, through this Ziggs. Those are the scaling kind of
win yeah, here we go for the replay.
Yep.
Yeah, here we go for the replay. I love this by Vision of Empire. I want to keep our eyes on toward the Yone here. They managed to pick off Kazi. They take down the Cassante, but pay attention. The Viego goes in, they burn both big team fighting ultimates, and although Vision of Empire, his dash has stopped, you can see the knockup goes through, immediately followed up by the shockwave with the Fate sealed. So even though the damage doesn't come through, even though the Yone isn't able to get into the middle of the team fight, he still gets the CC, they layer it on up, and they wrap those bodies in a bag. And this is what we said about the Yone pick. It doesn't need to be fed. It doesn't need to have all of the resources that you would want to see a Yone and necessarily solo queue have. As long as it's able to get into the middle of the fight, layer down its CC, it is still a useful pick, and I think Vision of Empire in that play exemplified that perfectly.
Yep, phenomenal team coordination from the side of Drop Dead Gaming. I mean, they're just showing why they are the defending champions. I mean, you think early on that you had a lead against them. Oh, we started off 4-1. That's fantastic. That's cool. You lost all the Void Grubs. You lost First Dragon. You lost Rift Herald. I mean, what else? What else is there? They're absolutely just macro diffing at the moment, and then playing around these resources, around these units. The setup is looking very great. Well, Curse of the Sad Mummy has been looking pretty good here from Kaz. Some 2-mans, some 3-mans. No one is. It's kind of a retreat mode. These ults and this stuff is coming out of the side of Boz as a retreat mode. It's nothing sort of they're setting the tempo, they're setting the pace. And when they're down just about 5k gold, I don't know if there's much room for them to be able to do so. As we see pings already coming out for this Baron. The jungler has not been spotted on the bot side, but they are pinging the Baron boss to be able to roam on over. TP is on the side of Vision of Empire, so he's going to continue to push out.
Oh, they got the
great place in the cast. That's a TP flank coming out. Vision of Empire has Fate Sealed. He's going to be looking for it. Kaz is going to be able to be the one marking it, but that bandage toss hit a minion, and it's a dice. Great Fate Sealed into the shot. They get absolutely decimated. He's going to be able to snap back. Maybe they're trying to be able to find a kill on the Vision of Empire. Go 2 for 1 if at all possible. Marquez going for the engage. Flash forward out of Evil Lobster though. Maybe trying to find a kill into the Poppy. Can't execute it just yet. And Jordan Bot's going to get the stun off onto the Cassante to be able to clean that one on up. Evil Lobster finally chasing down the Yordle with the hammer. And you're just a Yordle in the spawn room now as the Baron is going to be taken by DDG.
I really like the way that DDG have been navigating around the map. It just kind of feels like they are always 2 steps ahead of Boomers over Zoomers. Call these guys up for your futures. It seems like they are able to read the future at this point in the game. The Baron is next on the menu, but look at Gritty. Oh, Troy's down.
Auto landed. They're weak. The HP bars. Noosh going in for Jordan, but they want to commit to the Baron. They do. Brady fan flashes forward, able to find Gritty. The Baron has been killed. Kaz flashes in, lands the bandage.
Did he get the reset?
He got the reset. He actually did. Brady fan now auto attacking Kaz to absolutely 0. It's a triple kill for the carry. Brady fan said, we've talked about everybody else on this roster but them. It's their time to shine.
I mean, this is the consequence of leaving Averis up to farm in that bot lane, Cilantro. It's a sleeping giant and Branny fan. Boy, is he awake. 9, 1, and 2 has those 2 items complete, very close to 3 as well. They're going to get that Baron buff and go on to transition it into a Dragon. So now that's 2 apiece for them. Still a little bit far from Soul, but we got the replay here in the mid lane fight. The Kaz, yeah, like you said, hitting the minion, and that immediately signals for Vision of Empire to go. They layer the CC yet again. Beautiful shockwave from Troy, filling the shoes of Neversaw perfectly yet again. But then the Yone kind of finds itself on the wrong side of the fight, as it was in the Soul Unbound when all of that happened. But Evil Lobster manages to play clean up crew, gets the Poppy, they get Kazi, who's just surrounded by hungry sharks here in Drop Dead Gaming. They leave Gritty alive, go on toward the Baron. Now, this is where I do credit Gritty. He's able to poke down Troy, able to kind of separate the Orianna away from the team. She thinks she can play kind of zone control, but then gets hit on down. Nushir tries to salvage the fight, but this is the consequence of leaving the Varus unattended for so long. It barely gets hit in this entire exchange. It's just able to whittle you down with arrows over and over. And I think Jamarcus kind of got the memo that you should not be going in toward this Varus, and just respectfully backs off, saying, you didn't see me, I was not here.
Yep. And now he is going to be a problem. Terminus has been completed, so has that 3-item power spike onto the 80k position, whereas Noosh, the 80 carry, quote-unquote, for the side of Boz, is still not even completed the 2nd item. He's nearly about to get Flame Horizoned by the bot laner as mid lane. If this Varus can continue to keep up this level of farm, this level of play, it could be possible. Now they set their sights on this mid tier 2. With that 4-1 split, Troy into the top side. He's going to be able to pull this Cassante. In the 4v4, though, I'm favoring DDG at the moment, but maybe they want to be able to collapse on the Cassante. They are just going to poke. They're going to whittle him down. Kaz, no clue what to do. No clue which lane they should be playing for, which lane they should be defending first. And now, Gritty channeling a recall might have an item power spike in base. Double amp tone, I think, is going to be
looking top lane. Look top lane.
Horizon focus, yep, it will be the Cassante getting the better of Troy there. They will get that top side tier 2 in the long haul, and they'll get a mid side tier 2. So honestly, Troy, your death entirely was not worth it. You are just a little bit of gold. If we get a gold check, see how we are on this. Rabadon's death pack cap coming online for Troy. I know they just got 2 turrets. That's a lot of global gold. Could be a lot closer toward that power spike. Now, let's talk about this Storm Surge, because we've in that replay, Shockwave was massive, but that Storm Surge came down and absolutely executed them. And that's this champion, in my opinion, Orianna, right now on this patch, until next patch when Storm Surge gets nerfed, this champion or Syndra are like the best mid laners in the game because they abuse that burst damage. They abuse that item so favorably well. Glacial Prism into Chains of Corruption, into Fate Sealed. My by God, Gritty.
Look at the teleport from Troy.
Yeah, he's looking to get that flank off. Shockwave's going to be online. Marquis maybe gets caught out. Storm Surge proc comes down the squall. Not enough damage to be able to find it. Vision of Empire going on over the wall. Doesn't get much, but by God, what did Gritty type in all chat? Because that man just got executed with 3 ultimates put on top of him. Maybe is DDG looking to execute game number 1. Gotta be careful though. They're stacking up on this mid tower. They do have the 6 point growth. They should be able to take it extremely fast, and it will finally go down. We do have about a minute 35 for the next dragon. The engage is going to be coming out of Vision of Empire. Kaz is going down to extremely low, not able to get the stun proc off, but Troy comes back into the fight and is able to slay Kazi. Now, do they go for the end here, or do they turn and take the guaranteed play? They're going to turn. They're going to take the guaranteed play.
I like this from Drop Dead Gaming. They decide not to pull the trigger too hard, especially with the Ziggs coming back online. This really is kind of the difficulty of pushing down against a comp like this. Ziggs is really good at making sure that it's hard for you to siege against him. So I like that they held their tongue. I like that they didn't go immediately to try and end the game, as the wave clear was starting to get really good for Boomers over Zoomers. Now the siege from Boomers over Zoomers, trying to gain control of this bot side river. That is a different task entirely, as the dragon going up in about 45 seconds. Troy on the top side of the map doesn't have teleport, however, so is gonna have to recall. That means that Boomers over Zoomers might have initial control over this bot side river. So DDG will have to walk into them, but you know, they are up 12k gold. I feel like really there is no difficulty in that regard.
No, definitely not. They want to start smacking with their wallet. Kaz may be the one caught off the turret's going to end up falling to the satchel, though. Kaz is a little bit weak at the moment, and it's a Glacial Prism to the face. That's a reset popping on in. Kazi should be TPing in here, trying to be that front line, trying to be that help for the team, but the fight might be already over. It's a great Fate Sealed.
Oh, Troy!
Noosh, but not able to get it off just yet. Troy not able to find that execution. Flashing forward, Jordan Bus going to force the flash out of the Poppy too, trying to desperately run out, trying to get away from this fight. Noosh over on the left-hand side there, maybe trying to look for a re-engage. So Marquez is extremely weak. Can they find the Yone? No, not quite yet. Brandy Fan goes godlike just to be able to get the kill. The execution onto Kazi gets a double kill too. Maybe pushing on forward. Maybe wants to find Gritty. This could be an end game angle. They got the 6 Void Grubs. You don't need the Baron. You don't need the Dragon. And you have 6 Void Grubs and a Super Minion wave. But instead, no, they're going to come back on off. They are going for the guaranteed Dragon play. Solidify 3 Dragons and then maybe move to the Baron.
I like this again. You know, you saw Kaz kind of resetting. Health bars are a little bit low. You can take your guarantee and not really lose anything else. But Aaron is also up. So I feel like you have a lot to lose if you go for it like that. If you lose, you not only lose Dragon, you might also lose Baron. You might lose the Elite, right? There's still definitely a chance that they could throw some. So take your guarantee play, like you said, to launch trigger, get a reset again. The final item dies. And really, you know, Boomers over Zoomers, 12k gold down, 2 Dragons down, Death knocking at their door here in game number 1. They're going to have to live on a hope and a prayer that their team fighting is good enough to carry them through the rest of the game, because really, nothing short of that is going to net them the win. As we got an engage from Jordan Bot.
This is just going to be what DDG does time again. Places to be able to smack them in the face. Kazi goes unstoppable. Will it be enough though? Evil Lobster's a little bit dangerously weak. If you're the side of Boss, that's a target. That's an engaged champion, like you mentioned earlier, quarterbacks that can get bursted down pretty quickly, pretty easily, and maybe you could win out of 5v4. You're down 12k gold just about though, so they kind of are just wallet gapping you at this point. Like they kind of just are taking every single fight because they know they can and they can win every single fight. But that's where the mistakes come out. That's where things start happening. That's where Boss can find an angle to come back into this game and potentially win. As going over the wall, Boss gets engaged upon that Amumu. They want to be able to burst it down. Jordan Bot might be extremely weak.
Shockwave.
The big field into the Shockwave is able to help find 2, so it's a 2-for-1. Vision of Empire is just playing cleanup crew. Troy comes back over the wall too. Kazi and Jamarki are just the last ones remaining, the last ones standing. Unfortunately, Jordan Bot, you sacrificed your life, but you should be able to clean up game number 1 as Vision of Empire actually falls. Kazi forces the flash out on over the wall. Branny Fan looking to run this one down. 2 flashes over the wall. 2 getting into the spawn. Kazi is 1 HP, but Choi's eating turret shots. Nearly falls to the ramped up tower damage. Is going to shield himself on up to Marky. Full HP coming in looking for something. So the Chains of Corruption going to go wide. But the Nexus is going to get going a lot wider as it goes and explodes in your face. Dropped in getting take game number 1.
Well done there by Drop Dead Gaming, facing adversity in those first few minutes. A beautiful tower dive executed by Boomers over Zoomers. You were thinking, how could they possibly kind of get back into this game? That feels like a lot of the win cons just got shut down. You know, you burn the teleport immediately right out of the gate, but it was what we didn't see that really ended up being the winning conditions for Drop Dead Gaming. In particular, Branny Fan on that Varus. We didn't pay attention to it at all in those first 5 minutes. And look at that, look at that damage coming from the Varus. Look at that damage coming from the Orianna as well. Troy, we had so many questions on this player, you know, in regards to how they would fill the shoes of their predecessor. And it seems like in game number 1, they did it very, very well. It seemed like the kind of cohesion with Vision of Empire, it looks like these guys have been playing together for a really long time with how many Fate Seal plus Shockwaves landed in this game number 1. So I think more of those wombo combos, more of this style of play playing toward the 80 carry, and you might get yourself a quick 2-0 here, Cilantro.
It's quite possible. All I can say is, these are the defending champions, Quacks. They do not care if you go up 4-1 in the first 2 minutes of the game. They don't care. They had to play against a team that was phenomenal at making comebacks from that sort of state of the game, and I'm sure they took a lot away from that grand finals, went into this break, and started implementing so many more strategies, so many more implementations, because you can't get comfortable against this team. That's all I gotta say. But we're gonna go ahead and head on over to game number 2. We're gonna get a quick 2-0, or Boss able to find a map against the champions. We'll come back.
You say you wanna try, but you never
Whoa. Okay. Okay.
Hello?
Hold on a second.
You are very up close and personal.
Hold on a second here. Okay. Okay.
Okay. I love your hair.
My forehead is not. My forehead's big, but the people don't need to see it anymore. Okay, we're back. Listen, y'all have had me for the past 3 splits, but you know, you don't want to see that much of me. All right, I've learned that the hard way. So we're going into game number 2 here. The defending champs sitting up 1-0 over this BOZ team. Now, Quacks, I'm going to throw the cut over to you here because we have finally started our first split of Fearless. So I'm going to run it over to you, talk about that. Maybe what we could be seeing since, you know, it's our first draft here in Immortal Fearless.
Yeah, I mean, maybe if you live under a rock and you don't know what full Fearless is, then let me just quickly explain it to you. Basically, what it means is that if a champion was picked, so the Amumu from last game, completely locked out. You're not going to see it in game number 2, or potentially, if there is a game number 3, you're also not going to see it in game number 3. So every single champion that we saw, all 10 picks, completely off the board. So that means power picks like we saw the B1 Yone are not going to be available. The famous Branny fan, Varus, is not going to be available. The Orianna is not going to be available. So a lot of these really strong champions going to have to kind of be, you know, spaced out across series, you know, so that you don't burn them out all too quickly. And that's what I'm thinking we're going to be seeing here in game number 2 is going to be some more power picks, particularly in that mid lane. You were talking a little bit about the Storm Surge being really the big premier item for a lot of these meta mid laners, Cilantro, and I 100% agree. The champions that are able to kind of cheat that early game, cheat the efficiency, and get the flat M pen along with the active in the Storm Surge feels really, really nice. And I think Orianna is a practitioner of that. I think Syndra is another user of that. LeBlanc is kind of an honorable mention, but you still have, I would say, a few other unorthodox mid laners that you can go, right? I've seen Talia still kind of work out because you're able to use that Luden's Companion. I think a lot of people are also really saying Luden's Companion was the big breadwinner of a lot of these changes in the mid lane. So poke mages in general are back, right? Gone are the days of ADCs in the mid lane, as I'm sure we saw in game number 1. Noosh trying his best on the Tristana, but unfortunately, my friend, 1419 is here, right? And we saw kind of the difference in Tristana before and Tristana now. So I am interested to see what other mages we're going to be seeing in the mid lane. Maybe we aren't going to be seeing as many as we think because, you know, it is still young into that patch. It is still, you know, kind of adapting to that meta that I think is, you know, going to have to be undertaken by a lot of these players. So I'm looking forward to seeing that transition in real time as the weeks go by, as the games get deeper and deeper, as the champ pools get deeper and deeper, because again, we are in Fearless. And I think that just makes it for a very exciting series, a very exciting season, and a very exciting rest of the year, because this is going to be a very interesting Immortal League with all of these new rules adding up, with a completely new meta being here, and with familiar teams like we saw in Drop Dead Gaming being able to potentially try to reclaim their throne here in the fall. It was a very decisive game 1 victory for them. So I want to see more of that. I want to see more of that domination.
Yep, me too. And you know, speaking of mid laners, speaking of stuff, there's another mid laner we haven't really mentioned that is kind of flown under the bus. They don't have the greatest laning phase, but they execute Storm Surge pretty well, and that's Akali. And Akali is not have the greatest laning phase right now, but it is a demon. I mean, we've seen Maple pulling it out here and there on the last previous patch in World. So maybe Troy, if he doesn't get the Syndra, doesn't get that LeBlanc. I'm still gonna ride the rest of the world's train that LeBlanc is like one of the worst 5 champions in the game.
I don't know.
I'm gonna go for the Akali. Listen, LS has some whack takes, but I'm sorry, but Jojo Pune on LeBlanc did not sell me that champion's good.
I mean, hey man, I feel like if you want to take that performance into consideration, then nothing is going to look good when he was in that series against 100.
I mean, Jojo Pune just didn't look good, but that's another story.
I agree. But we are into the draft here for game number 2. A lot of bans being targeted toward those mid laners and those AD carries. I like that Drop Dead Gaming are really indexing toward a lot of these strong ADC picks. Most ADCs that are good in the current meta abuse either one of the 2 or both, which is range and attack speed. And Ashe, as you can see, banned away, taken off the table. Ezreal as well, another user who's really good at abusing range, also going to be taken away. No surprise to see these mid laners taken away as well. Swain is really strong. Aurora is really strong. Nico, always going to have that big, strong team fight ultimate. And the Gwen is there to stay. And we got the Skarner, baby.
Skarner. I love this champion, man. I play it every single chance that I typically can get. I'm playing Skarner because I think it's just the best team champion like in the game. I don't know. I love what Skarner can do. I love the gank pressure it can have, the setup, because the indicator that Skarner's coming over the wall is very tiny. So if you could be pitch perfect with that timer, with your laner, you can have some phenomenal ganks, and you can just do some great things in the team fights going forward. Lilia, it gets some nerfs. Some of that AP items also got some nerfs. They are nerfing Leandry's and Faded Ashes next patch. But she's still very strong. She gets ahead early. She can really snowball a game still. And Jhin, well, I mean, if you watched Worlds today, I don't think you needed me to tell you how broken Jhin is on the current patch still. Nami's going to be rounding out this boss pick, so I'm wondering if this is like a brand Nami bot.
I think it is.
That would be interesting.
I think it is probably going to be a brand bot lane, especially when we see the Skarner, right? We already know that that's going to be in the jungle role. Brand, usually if he wasn't in the ADC role, would be in the jungle himself. So I think we are going to see that bot lane combination come on through. The Nautilus is going to round us out, so a decent amount of pick potential coming out from the Lily. You know, you get hit by a Swirl Seed, you potentially get put to bed. Nautilus is the quintessential pick champion. Also really good for peel, something that Jhin really needs in the laning phase with how immobile he is, and Skarner, like you mentioned, super good at just kidnapping, you know, some of these immobile champions and dragging them toward his entire team. And that's kind of where I'm looking at this this Boomers over Zoomers squad to really put forward with that Skarner. Get that thing into the early game, get some priority in the bot lane, make sure this Jhin has it rough in those first 15 minutes, and make sure that him getting toward that static Shiv, you know, power spike, I feel like it is kind of a one-item power spike for all intents and purposes, is not necessarily a walk, but it is a climb instead. He's going to have to work for that. If they can do that, then I think they're sitting good. They've also got the Renekton, so even more pick comp. A champion that's strangely absent from this game is actually the Syndra. I'm surprised neither mid laner has opted to go for that, especially in the case of Drop Dead Gaming. You're dealing with a lot of engage now that that Malphite has been locked in. You have the opportunity really to go Syndra now with the Akshan being B5. There's a bunch of squishiness on this squad. You don't really have to, I would say, worry about having too much magic damage because, again, you've got the M-Pen. But yeah, I mean, Silas actually works. I actually kind of like this. There's a bunch of good ultimates, so I can see the vision, even though this might be a bit of a rough laning phase in particular for Troy. If he's able to get a good, you know, first 15 minutes, not really give Noosh that avenue to get a snowball off, I think this Silas comes up really big later down the line.
The ults, oh my god, this is like a Silas field day right now. What I'm looking at, like, oh my, this is a Silas field day. But another thing I want to mention, as we're talking about how these two teams are gonna fight it out, how they're gonna go back and forth. Big thing with the Skarner pick. I'm like 90% sure that if you ult a Lilia while she's before she gets flash, look, let me mark my words real quick. Vision of Empire and the team are setting the standard forward as the flash has to be committed. I believe in no, that's just brand burn. No one has gone ignite, so that is going to set Troy up as, is this a lane swap or is it really Renekton mid, Silas top?
Oh, hang on,
it might be
Kaz.
Gen 2. First blood over to Lilia. This game already starting strong for DDG. Let me finish my thought real quick because these two teams decided to be LPO teams for a minute. I'm 90% sure that if the Skarner ults before Lilia finishes her cast, he can cancel the Drowsy. I think
that is accurate. I think you're correct, but we've got a pause here coming out in the first couple of minutes, or just the first minute of game number 2. But that is a really good start here for Drop Dead Gaming. Not only do they burn the flash and get the kill, but they also give it over toward Evil Lobster, the Lilia, right? Who you're kind of relying on to be this big late game carry who's going to be running over the team fights later down the line. And already it seems like the Pro Comps draft score really favors Drop Dead Gaming. And yeah, it's no surprise to see why. It seems like they have a really good read on the meta, the Jhin and the Lilia in particular. I know you talked about some nerfs toward the Lilia, but it is still a very strong champion, right? You full clear, you get those 2 items, you run around, and really, there aren't a lot of good counters to you. Skarner may be tanky, and he may be fast, but it's going to be a tall task for him to try and catch out this champion because of just how quick she is.
Yep, and we have our tactical, NA pause, brought to you by Pro Comps. We haven't talked about them yet. We've seen their draft score. They seem to give this DDG team a 10% chance in the draft score to have the better composition here. And you might be wondering how they do that. Well, they use actual pros. Wow, who would have thought that? A utility called Pro Comps using pros to be able to help you track the draft score and draft the potential winning team composition. Oh my god, who could have thought about that? You know what else you probably didn't think about it? That it's completely free. And guess what else you probably didn't think about? It's in the Overwolf client. So if you have some dog water app like Blitz or something, just uninstall that and install Pro Comps, because I can guarantee you 99% of the time, your team is gonna thank you for it.
And you were talking about lane swaps earlier. We got a little bit of a swap coming out here in game number 2. Noosh on the Silas. We got to see 2 of him for a moment there, but he is in the top lane. So I would say a much better matchup, especially when you don't have Flash. Silas is one of those champions that you never want to be down a Flash against. Very, very punishing for losing that summoner spell. Even if you are a mobile marksman like Akshan, it can be very, very bad for you in the early game. So I like this awareness coming out in these first few minutes to lane swap those solo laners, and I'm interested to see what kind of developments and advantages it could net for Boomers over Zoomers later down the line.
Yep, for sure. Troy probably going to be pushed in throughout majority of this laning phase. Is going to need a little bit of help from Evil Lobster, but honestly on the Renekton, you're kind of that source of engage, or that source of, okay, my Jordan bot Nautilus has gone in, I'm going in next, I'm propping the dominance, I'm going to stay alive as long as possible. Can I find Gritty? Can I find Jamarquez? Can I find Noosh? Get one of these kind of assassinations. Speaking of which, I don't know if you've mentioned or we pointed out yet, but we do have a lane swap. Noosh is in the top lane and not in the mid lane. Kazi's in the mid lane, rocking this Malphite. Troy also in the top lane. So both mid laners into the top lane now. Lane swaps have come on down. But yeah, this Renekton is gonna he's gonna get in, get a kill, and die. Most likely, and that's going to help this DDG team kind of snowball the team fights, because by that point, by the time the Renekton dies, Evil Lobster will have pumped out a ton of damage. Brandy Fan's probably in the back line pulling down the curtain, and Jordan Bot probably is also dying for the cause.
And I think it's a lot better than what we saw in game number 1. We kind of had the Yone where we said it didn't really matter. Hang on, Evil Lobster going to be seen, but not going to be punished. The Yone in the last game was kind of that same thing as what we're describing with the Renekton, right? Was able to get into the middle of the team fight, be relevant, get those shockwaves off. This time around, you're not playing kind of a high risk, high damage, gold, very needy gold player like Renekton, who gets the solo kill, by the way, as Troy just gonna take down Noosh. Didn't even have to burn the flash to do so.
Flex, I don't know, man. This guy, you're just saying he doesn't need the gold, but he wants it, man. Looking a little bit like Patrick Mahomes out there, on this Renekton, reminds me one heck of a guy, throwing out these kills, just getting these solo bolos, doing it all by himself. He does not need anyone else. Meanwhile, Evil Lobster moving on up to top side. Void Grubs should be spawning up soon because the dragon's up in that 10-second mark. And Boss's bot lane is taking a reset that's going to open up Cryo for Brainy Fan and Jordan Bot. They're able to get one of these pushes on in. You see Evil Lobster channeling the recall, has that bot lane Cryo. Gritty going to be TPing on in and trying to push out the wave. Will he decide to go for early dragon? They do have the better team scaling composition, DDG, so they do probably want to prio these dragons over the initial Void Grubs.
And the mid laner is relatively even in farm, so I have to imagine they're going to get level 6 at the same time. So no real advantage, I would say, going to make its mark in terms of the dragon fight that we're sort of alluding to. And yeah, I would say that is most likely imminent and likely going to favor DDG getting that one first. They've got, like you said, the prio and bot lane. Now the wave kind of bouncing back bot as well, as there was the reset from Jordan Bot and Branny Fan, but You can see the Skarner still clearing its camp, so really not going to take that opening. The timing just going to be slightly off here for Boomers over Zoomers. So I think Drop Dead, after they clear this wave bot lane, and after, you know, the level 6s are complete in the mid lane, we should see a relatively easy objective take from Drop Dead Gaming. And it might not even be the Dragon, but the Herald instead, which is a little bit interesting because of the prio that we mentioned in the top lane earlier. You can see Noosh is still pushing Troy in. The Dominus is available, and the mana bar for Kazi in particular, very, very low. So they're actually not going to fight it, and instead going to do the classic objective handshake.
Ooh, Dredgeline goes in between Jamarquez and Gritty. Maybe one that he doesn't realistically want to take because Skarner is there in the bot side. They don't want that 3v2 potential. Evil Lobster, though, putting forth that advantage on an AP champion and going for these Void Grubs. Having that Faded Ashes so online early allows him to be able to just shred these objectives, start shredding the farm. Already has about a 4 camp clear over the side of Kaz, who's going to be able to get the first dragon. Gritty comes on up, Jamarcos as well. So they pick up the first dragon. It is a Hextech, so you're not too worried, realistically, if you are DDG. Vision of Empire moving on down has stolen the Malphite ultimate, but they decided to go ahead and back off because of Branny Fan's HP bar. Next dragon going to be a Chemtech. So honestly, these first two, if you're DDG, you get 6 Void Grubs, you get Herald, and you give up these first 2 dragons. Now, honestly, no biggie.
And you're also gaining the top side as well. I really like what Evil Lobster is doing. Recognize that the dragon was not long for that world. So now they potentially set up for a dive. Troy has popped Dominus.
Yep, looking to get in. Stun comes on out into this Lilton Lullaby. Can they finish the kill though? Comes in with the Malphite ultimate. Evil Lobster eating those turret shots though. Not eating any lobster here tonight. And Troy gonna take one for the road as well. They want the kill onto Kazi, but Kaz has joined the fray. The Skarner has been summoned, looking to go over the wall. He's gonna use Impale. It's not looking like it's super effective, but he will find the rock toss just to be able to give Troy that little nudge. Just get on out of here. Run away. We don't want any crocodiles here. That's the wrong Pokemon.
It would have been a really good tower dive, though, if it was actually Noosh in the top side of the map. I was thinking as soon as those grubs were taken, you know, the Lilia floats on up toward the top side, probably gets the dive. If that was the Akshan, that Akshan was dead to rights, but they do the smart thing. They swap up that Malphite toward the top side of the map. Now he has that Bramble Vest, so he is able to contend relatively well against a champion like a Malphite. It really feels like the worst is over. Now there is some normalcy returning to the Rift. Champions are in their respective and correct spots. And so far, it's been a much quieter game than game number 1, Cilantro. Only 2 kills on the board, 8.5 minutes into the game, but a 1k gold lead developing from all of that in favor of Drop Dead Gaming. And I have to think, you know, early game for this comp, certainly the weak point of it. You know, Jhin, Renekton is strong in the early game, but can still get punished. Lilia is a scaling champion as well, and you're up against things like the Skarner, like the Akshan. These are early game lane bullies and menaces. And I feel like unless we see a play from Boomers over Zoomers that kind of can rewrite this game, it's just going to be a matter of Drop Dead Gaming scaling and really putting their foot on the gas minute by minute.
Yeah, you know, you just talked about this gold lead, and I can't help but say it, Quacks. It's all on Evil Lobster. The farm is kind of there for this Renekton, but look at the gapage between this Skarner and this Lilia. Why? That Faded Ashes is a broken item, but he got those Void Grubs. He got that topside camps as well. Marks has to go run away from the Jhin. Now, but you, Dredgeline, going to end up going wide, but the curtain call is going to come on down. Gritty marching on forward. That's going to cause a depth charge to be committed. Branny Fan drops extremely low from that brand damage, but will not able to fall. Brand being level 6 now means you've got to be a little bit wary of that ultimate coming on out. It's burst damage. You are still a very weak 80 carry. You can get bursted down from this brand, but gank looked possible. I don't think Lobster had the Lilting Lullaby online just yet, and so when it came online, the fight was already over. Decided not to block it as Troy goes in with a flash, gets stunned up himself from the brand, goes on to Jamarquez. He can't flash away from this one, and they're gonna give another kill over to Branny Fan.
Good target selection there coming out from Troy. Recognize that the Nami was the one without the flash. They don't greed to try and go for Gritty. They might try to greed here as they are sort of surrounding that tower, trying to get those plates. And yeah, with those 3 grubs, I have to imagine they're going to get some gold injected into Branny Fan, who's had a relatively rough laning phase. This is kind of the reality of bot lane now, where a lot of these AP champions are sort of the kingpins in the first 15 minutes, and it's up to the Jhin to kind of turtle for that time being until that static shiv is complete. When you're up against so many magic damage threats, though, you can see Brandyfan is thinking he has to go with that Hex Drinker, so that spike slightly delayed in this game, that kill and those plates certainly going to help out and sort of course correct this Jhin back onto its scaling train.
Yeah, this is the tactical screen freeze, spectator freeze. It's very tactical coming out of both teams. They've decided to break the game instead of using a pause. It's the way that they can bend the rules, you know. So they don't really have to do. They don't have to utilize that timeout. They're able to get 3 timeouts. As you know, this is just their way of making us be here.
I will say, look at the shopkeeper's face though. Has anyone ever talked about how this man just looks super judgmental? He looks judgmental as hell. Like, if you say you want an item, he's probably the kind of person who you say, oh, I want an Infinity Edge. He looks directly at you, shakes his head, clicks his tongue, gives it to you, but just like looks like a disappointed dad. And the other one looks like she's more than happy to just sell you whatever the hell you want. You want it, it's yours, my friend.
That's basically vibes. Is that a squirrel? It looks like a squirrel.
It's a Yordle. If Fizz is a Yordle, then this thing is a Yordle.
Wait, Fizz is a fish though. Like, is that allowed to classify as a Yordle?
Is Fizz a Yordle or I mean, he can be both. Both is good.
A fish Yordle. Interesting. Well, I mean, according to Riot, Tom Kench is a frog, and we all know that's wrong.
He's catfish. He's catfish. Yeah. He's Mr. Catfish to you.
Well, as we're frozen in time here, we can take the time to reflect on all of our past memories on the Rift of League of Legends as we slowly pan over the entirety of the entire map.
Looks so beautiful.
Yes, very beautiful. Very many memories were made on this map. Much feeding was happened. I'm surprised that the Voidlings haven't risen up and taken over the Rift.
Oh, where are we going? Where are we going?
Oh, we're going to Legends of Runeterra. We're going to Legends of Runeterra now.
Maybe there they have a better spectator client.
League of Legends is dead. We shall now be streaming Legends of Runeterra full time. I expect 10 donated subs a stream.
Yeah. Oh, hey, look, it's Ari. Okay. I still don't understand why they have this statue up. It's been, what, like 3 months since the skin came out? Or something like that?
Maybe it's a permanent.
Is it permanently? You think they're gonna add one for every Hall of Legends person they put there? After 10
Honestly?
years, it's gonna look super weird.
Honestly, I'd be okay with that. We are being told that we're coming back to Cam. I personally would rather just explore the Rift.
Yeah, me too, but it's okay. Okay, our producer is saying that is okay.
So here's our lovely Summoner Cup with Faker behind it.
It's worse.
Behind it.
Worse.
I agree. I agree. Chat. There's a ton of you in here. Chat. Can we get a poll going? Do you prefer old Summoners Cup or new Summoners Cup? Because I'm an old Summoners Cup stan. I think it looks 10 times more cool.
I feel like the old Summoners Cup kind of gives off the vibe of like the old Summoners Rift map, though. You know, a lot more messy, a lot more colors, a lot more, I would say, chaotic in design. And this new Summoners Rift map, new League of Legends, a lot cleaner, a lot sleeker. And just a lot more shiny overall. I feel like the new trophy definitely is more shiny at the end of the day.
Old Summoners Cup was more bejeweled. It was more...
Where is our producer taking us? The river?
Yes, we're looking for the purple worm. Can we find anybody in chat about the purple? That is a purple... No, that's a scorpion. That's not a worm. It doesn't...
He kind of looks like his old self. I miss old Skarner, man. I wish they kind of gave, like, I wish they would do this for, like, heavy reworks where they would give them, like, a legacy skin that looked like their pre-rework self. Am I wrong? Like, I feel like that would be cool. Like, if you liked Pokemon purple-looking Skarner, you should get a Pokemon purple-looking Skarner skin. It can't be that hard, can it?
I like new Skarner. I love the way new Skarner is.
I love new Skarner, too. But you gotta pay respects to the OGs. Like, who wouldn't want a blob mess ugly, like, pre-rework Urgot skin? I know I would.
I personally like the way new Udyr looks compared to old Udyr.
No, you are a sinner. I loved the old Spirit Guard Udyr, and they took that away from me. They took my one true love away. And I can never forgive them for that. I feel like the rework is pretty good. Don't get me wrong, it's cool looking, but man, just the design of old Udyr really had me falling in love. I watched thousands of hours of Trick 2G with that version.
Oh, must be nice. Okay, as we see our lovely Worlds banner, it's phenomenal. If you have not checked out Worlds, go watch Worlds now. For some reason,
Yeah.
Worlds does not want to give
Maybe you can watch it while we figure this out. Maybe you can get like a yeah. There's highlights on YouTube.
True.
LOL Esports. Take a look.
Yeah. Don't go to that website though. It's bad.
No, don't go to that website.
I'm logged in every day and to get my rewards.
If you go to that website, 50,000 scammers are waiting for you on the other side to take your money.
I go to the little esports website. I log in, trying to get my rewards for Worlds. My world specific chromas and whatnot. And oh, the shopkeeper left. Oh nope, there she is.
No! Oh, there she is.
Oh, there
okay,
she is.
wait. So we're moving. We're moving.
It's a sign. It's a sign. We're back in. Okay, that totally did not just waste like 20 minutes. But you know what? Riot is prioritizing. Okay, and we're broken again. And we're broken. What if the entire time the game was actually paused, but we didn't see the pause timer?
Wouldn't that be so? Hey, look, a snail. I don't know. At this point, like, I'm just like, my brain has turned to mush. Like, there's a snail, there's a deer, there's some rocks, there's some blue towers, there's some red towers.
Okay.
There's our faces, I guess.
Yes, you can.
How do I look?
Our beautiful faces once again, as you want to watch the beautiful game of League of Legends. But I'm being told we're throwing it to an intermission while we figure out why Riot hates us. So we'll be back in. Well, somebody will tell you in chat when we'll be back.
Yeah.
Yeah. side to side. Without you by my side, my side, my side. Without you by my side. One time from side to side. Peekaboo, I see you. Peekaboo, I see you. Looking at me, looking at you. Hold up, where you going? What you doing? Who you seeing? What you need? What you want? I said, without you by my side, my side, my side. Without you by my side. One time from side to side. Without you by my side, I can't go outside. Without you by my side.
Wow! It's been a while. I feel like we played 3 league games since while we were gone.
Yeah, I climbed from Emerald 1 to Diamond 4 in the span of that unfortunate replay incident, but we're back into game number 2 between BOZ and Drop Dead Gaming. And already we might have some action here as the Herald, or rather the Grubs are the subject of the fight.
Yeah, Kaz is supposed to flash on out over to the wall. I can't see who put the Void Grubs. DDG got them as Dredge Line's going to get the knockup as the title. Wave is not going to be enough to be able to save the Nami. So it'll be 2 Void Grubs to 4. Okay, DDG able to pick up the better half of that trade. Not only getting the kills, but getting those Void Grubs. Well, yeah. So now we got next Dragon up in about 30 seconds. We're going to see DDG try to prioritize that. You know, they got this kind of 1.5k gold lead. They got that neutral objective lead at the moment. Do they want to stop this Dragon scaling here? Probably do, because of the just pure tankiness. It's on the side of BOZ with the Skarner and the Malphite. And then you get the damage coming out of Gritty on the Brand. So, want to see a potential forced fight here. Renekton sitting on 2 items as well, so it's feeling, or 2 and O as well. So it's got that gold feeling a little bit powerful. And we see Evil Lobster already prioritizing the move towards it, but it has been started up by Kaz already. Lobster opting to go for the camp, okay? Not aware that the Skarner has started up this Dragon.
And I really like the positioning coming out here from Boomers and Resumers. I was initially a little bit concerned because Troy has the Dominus, he has the teleport, he could maybe look for a flank angle down on that ward near the bot lane turret, but Evil Lobster was on the top side clearing camps. This Lilia was not there in time, and now Kazi in a little bit of a low health situation. Gonna try and bully out, goes for the ultimate.
Yeah, it goes full on out. You gotta be careful because, yeah, Vision of Empire looks deceitfully low HP, low mana. 1W, though, is essentially putting Vision of Empire back into quarter of HP territory. So, you know, the ultimate committed. Excuse me. Little bit of a limit test there from Kazi, just trying to see what they can force out of Vision of Empire. Does not burn the flash. Sits there and tanks it like a Chad, like a champ. Like an emperor of an empire, one could say. And it's just going to continue to push on forward. Now, I'm looking really forward as these kind of approaching that 15-minute mark here soon. Going to be ending that early game phase. Headed into these mid games. I'm excited to see the 5v5s on this side list.
So far, Drop Dead Gaming have, you know, despite the Dragon stacking not being in their favor, you know, they've got those 4 Void Grubs. They've got the scaling advantage like we've talked about a couple of times, notably before the Giant Pause. But the Jhin now, you know, having that kill, having that CS, going to be able to go on toward that static shiv, and that's really when the champion's going to spike. The Lilia now completing their Leandries. So items are coming in for the carries of Drop Dead Gaming. It's just a matter of looking for those opportunities. That next opportunity likely going to be in the form of a Herald fight. You can already kind of see Jordanbot roaming up toward the mid lane to maybe reinforce his team, get some priority around that side of the map. And with Cataclysm, or not Cataclysm, with Unstoppable Force down, Vision of Empire does not have the ability to take that one for this next fight, so he might be a little bit limited in engage options. But it's just looking like Drop Dead Gaming, they've got complete control over this top side so far.
A little bit of action happening here into the bot lane. Maybe Cavs looking to be able to come on in.
Ooh.
Gritty first, but not the flash. Jinroot comes on down
turret shots
into the depth charge. So Tidal Wave is going to be able to deny the curtain call. Gritty not going to end up going down, but the damage from the Pyroclasm is insane. Troy is there, though. for the cleanup, and in comes the Vision of Empire with the TP on the Silas to help clean up Kaz. It'll be a 3-for-nothing trade-off. And you think that they're going to lose in the top side? Nope. Look who's headed right on up there to clean up this wave and make sure that boss gets absolutely nothing.
Good response there from Evil Lobster, but good TPs coming out there from Drop Dead Gaming to respond toward that bot lane play. You could definitely tell that Boomers over Zoomers wanted to go for that dive. They were circling around, posturing for that play, but Jordanbot almost just takes the fight straight over toward them instead and initiates the fight before they can really react. Gives his team an opening to engage, pick off the low health member in Gritty. They get the man advantage, they get the collapse, and they get the turret as well. Not losing their own on the top lane, as Evil Lobster, like we said, was able to cover for that. And now they can make their way up toward that same top side. Herald is still up and available. Turrets still need to be knocked down. And it's looking like Drop Dead Gaming want control of this as they're going on to Kazi.
Yep, engage straight on. Does have that unstoppable force. Has to use it.
Nice.
So no engage tool in your pocket. Troy in the mid lane getting that prio as well. Excuse me, so I wouldn't be too we're gonna be seeing this Herald come on. It gets started up. Skarner, I think, was spotted in the bot side. I don't know if Silas walked into the jungle and saw him. It might have looked like a sliver of it on the minimap. Yeah, he stole the ultimate. So he was aware that the Skarner was there, but the ultimate did expire. Now I'm just going to have to force out and push this wave. No vision. Gotta be wary of the Skarner coming over the wall. Dodges the suppression. He dodges the impale. Oh no, cuz. I'd say you're looking like my Skarner out there, but I don't miss those.
No, that was an outplay coming out there from Vision of Empire, as we actually did get a kill in the mid lane, dropped by the Herald, so that's going to be a mid lane turret to follow. He used the Proto Belt in order to dodge the Impale, so really good reaction coming out there from the Silas at the end of the day. It's going to be a trade for turrets, however, as we can see quite a hefty push is being operated by Boomers over Zoomers on that bot side. And now I think we're in kind of an interesting spot where, you know, you have mid-priority in favor of Drop Dead Gaming, but the bot wave is heavily in control of Boomers over Zoomers. This is going to get a good flank angle. You can see Curtain Call has been revealed. And Troy is making his way toward the back line. So is Jordanbot, but he's been found. TP's coming in.
Dominance. No, does not. Is halfway. Kaz is going in, trying to get the engage on the Jordan. Bucket's pulled on over. The Dredge Line's going to be able to help root up the Nami. They're able to trade out at least 1-for-1 support for support. End up going down. Vision of Empire forced to burn out the Flash. Kaz continuing to look to run that one down. Flash into the unstoppable force. They get the knockup onto the Silas. Can they continue to fight this? So yes, they're going to be able to respawn that Nami going into this dragon fight. They will have that third dragon advantage here, going to claim Soul Point. What can Evil Lobster do? What will Evil Lobster do? Going for the fight. Sleepy time now. TP's coming on out. He tries to cancel the sleep. The damage out of Evil Lobster is absolutely absurd. Has a 3-level lead we have not mentioned so far on the enemy jungler, and just absolutely pummels him out of the dragon pit. And it's going to be clean. Evil Lobster going in there by themselves, setting this one up. The TP comes out of Troy for the reinforcements, but the Lilia, the deer, it might not be akin to the jungle, but it's not afraid of the forest.
Certainly not, and we're seeing what happened now. The Lilia very inactive for the first 15 minutes of the game, but like you mentioned, 3-level lead here for Evil Lobster. Manages to fight a 1v2. Impale was down, Unstoppable Force was down. All of these engage tools not available for the top side of Boomers over Zoomers, so they're forced to back out. Drop Dead Gaming able to reinforce the Lilia as well, so it's going to be their first dragon, as Jordanbot maybe in a little bit of trouble.
Yeah, Troy's in the area, but decides just to trade the Nautilus is better, as the zip shot. Nuke's trying to go and get on in there, trying to poke down Troy, but it's not going to be able to find really anything. Rico's going to be committed. The Lilia needs to back it. Pocket some of that gold. Haunting Geese is going to be committed, so the damage that's going to be scaling on up on this Lilia just got a ton much better. Hex Drinker picked up for this Jin too. Oh, she just fully completed the Riftmaker off that. Okay, nice. 2-item Lilia on the board now. That's with a little bit of extra Omnivamp. Is looking pretty deadly, pretty scary. And so far, this Jin has gone untouched. Yeah, 1-0-5. You know, we haven't talked about it too much. Has that Static Shiv, looking to build into potentially that Wit's End, or maybe that Maul with the Hex Drinker. Is, you know, kind of taking a little bit of the backseat, but he's just gone uncontested. for so long. Doesn't really have a level lead, but nobody's really been able to kill him. And while they've got to Gritty, they've killed Gritty for the side of DDG. They've got to that carry champion. Boss has yet to find a way to get on this Jhin. Meanwhile, an engage straight onto Jamarquez, not able to find realistically anything. They're trying to buy time. They're trying to buy space, 20 seconds before this Baron spawns. Do they start it off spawn, though?
I feel like it's a little bit dangerous, right? Because you've got Kazu with that unstoppable force. There is a lot of tools on the side of Boomers over Zoomers that is really effective, particularly in a pit setting, right? Where you can really get a lot of those bouncing from the Pyroclasm. You've got a lot of AoE in your kit, so this is good from Drop Dead Gaming, despite having some AoE of their own with Vision of Empire stealing away that Malphite ultimate. They don't want to risk it. They're in a secure spot, and this is what we saw in game number 1, right? Drop Dead Gaming are a very, very, very close squad or a very close and careful squad when it comes to making these decisions. They aren't too hasty. They aren't willing to 50-50. They're willing to go for sure fire plays, potentially like this dive on the top lane. Evil Lobster maybe getting pinched though.
Here comes Kaz. Pyroclasm may be committed here, chooses to be able to slow him up, and the Impale gets the shutdown straight on over to that Malphite. Had to use the unstoppable force though, so Vision of Empire still has one in his back pocket. If he decides to pull it on out, might have to be a disengage tool. Who knows? Kaz looking to be able to come up into the top side, not going to be able to find much of anything. And Vision of Empire does not have to burn anything just yet. Meanwhile, Troy running down this mid lane, doesn't know that Nukes is in the area, as, you know, Akshan able to go invisible. Nukes, I'm assuming, is going to stop this back. Just be a little bit annoying. But the damage really...
Wow.
Oh, yeah, he gets it. Does he have the time, though? The Jhin Trap's so annoying. May be able to be that peel for Troy. I'm okay a little astonished to see that Boz didn't go for a Baron flip of their own there after killing Lilia. Because you have this brand. He has got Rylai's, he's got Leandri's. Yeah. Y'all have the damage to do it. Maybe they feel like they didn't...
He doesn't have the Pyroclasm, right? He doesn't have that big team fighting ultimate. They also use the Unstoppable Force, and now Brandy Fan in a little bit of trouble, has to run away, and will get out. Didn't even have to burn the flash, so key summoner spell for the Jhin still up and available should a fight arise. But Noosh now showing on the top side of the map. You can see Vision of Empire immediately pivoting on toward that bot side. They want to try and set up for some vision. The next dragon up in about a minute, and this is Drop Dead's opportunity to maybe equalize up this dragon count, to deny that soul point yet again. And when you've got these scalers like the Lilia, like the Jhin, like the Silas, you want to make sure that the later this game goes, the more in control you are.
Yeah, and I'm looking at Vision of Empire. What ult are we stealing here? What's that engage tool? We see him pathing towards Malphite, but he just stole a Malphite ult not that long ago. Is it off cooldown? Was there enough time? Was there enough lull state period for that to be able to come back online for him to steal the Malphite ult again? It may be. Who knows? As we see, the river control has already been picked up from Boss. They understand this is a soul point dragon. They take this, they move on to soul point. They're sitting in a phenomenal spot. Vision of Empire, no ultimate stolen yet. Okay, what's on the board for us to take? Skarner ult and Tidal Wave. If we can't take the Malphite ultimate, we take one of those two at minimum is what I think we would be looking for. Kaz gets spotted out off of the ball. Kaz. And who gets rooted on up, but that's a tank. It's going to get healed on straight up back by the Nami. Got to be careful though. It's kind of a little bit dangerous with this front line. With the CC that they have, they could burst them down. Bosch committed.
Impale.
Double flash though. That's Brandy Fan. The 80 carry is gone. Maybe they're able to find the angle to be able to get onto this Jhin now. Root on up onto Kazi. Vision of Empire finally steals the R. Tidal Wave comes on out. He engages straight onto Gritty. That's the kill. Baby potential. Current call coming on down. They pull back in the Silas, who has to flash on out. It's a
big sleep.
Drowsy. That's absolutely insane out of Evil Lobsters. Kazi may be the one that's going to end up falling first. Brandy Fan able to get that execution, and the rest of the squad of Boz has to retreat, but I don't think DDG is going to let them. Brandy Fan pushing up forward. The W snipe through the wall. Can he get 3 this fight? No. Evil Lobster says, I hit the massive ultimate. Let me get at least one of the kills, and they're going to pick it on up and deny soul point once again.
And it was looking like a one fight potentially for Boomers over Zoomers. They had the zone, they had the area, they had the vision. Really a TP flank from Troy on that top side was not possible. But it's Evil Lobster on this Lilia yet again for the second time a row in the exact same location. Coming up big, 4-man sleep, buys time for his team to re-engage. They take the fight to them. and the Dragon count is equalized. Drop Dead Gaming, your defending Immortal champions, sitting at about a 7,000 gold lead. 2 Dragons. Baron is up, and now a lot of these spikes in items being met by these carries. The Jhin resetting, getting some items under his belt as well. The Lilia doing the same. And it really feels like they are in control of this game. They're looking to get the 2-0. And Boomers over Zoomers, you can see they're making their way up toward the top side, trying to set up for the Baron, maybe look for a punish. But it feels like a Hail Mary at this point, Cilantro.
For sure, but they need something. They need something on the map. They're down about roughly that 6, 7, 8K. I think it's about, I don't know, math is difficult. I want to say that's about almost an 8K gold lead that they are down right now. Root straight on the cast. Side of waves is going to be committed to Marco. Has to burn out that flash TP going to be over there onto the ward. Two-man lullaby goes suppressed though a little bit too late. Unstoppable Force is going to be able to help find that executionist. Troy's going to be able to flash on in. Dominance able to find one. Has to return and retreat. Somebody has got to peel for Brandy Fan. The flash forward gets the shutdown on the Malphite, but they're going to be able to trade that out. 2-4-2 at the moment. Make it a 3-4-2. Not really the jungler online anymore, so probably not going to try and go
about his flash.
Now they turn the sights on to the bot side tier 2.
Maybe they were looking to go for an additional play in the mid lane, but they're not going to risk it. They are not going to push their luck further. Yeah, they're going to pivot on toward the bot side, but really key fight there. I would honestly say for Boomers over Zoomers, they managed to shut down Evil Lobster. They get themselves a few kills, but it really feels like where this gold is being allocated is not in the right spot. A lot of this gold is being put onto Akshan, and Nukes just dies in a lot of these exchanges. It really feels like this Akshan has not been able to really participate in a lot of these extended exchanges without going down himself, without being a casualty. I really want to see some of these kills go over toward Gritty. It feels like this brand is the win con for BOZ at the current moment, but it's not getting the gold. It's got those 2 items. It's got those Sorc shoes. But for what it's supposed to be, it just does not feel like enough at this current moment.
Yeah, and the Jhin is starting to scale out massively, especially off these team fights. Maybe Evil Lobster going a little bit too greedy, going for the counter. Jungle should end up falling here. Impale has to be committed to be able to find the kill. Evil Lobster's still alive. That Riftmaker healing is absolutely absurd. Does he have the movement speed? Nah, Nukes is able to find the execute off of the ultimate, but now, do they go for the Baron? Now are they looking for potentially something? It seems like scared to make that sort of decision.
They are, because they committed 4 ultimates, Cilantro. They committed so many resources in order to kill that Lilia. And although that Lilia, probably one of the stronger members on that squad, you still have to keep in mind the Renekton, the Silas, these threats on DDG. Just because you take down one of them does not mean that the others are not waiting around the corner. And they've got the Dominus, they've got the Unshackled, they've got the Curtain Call, all the tools to go for a fight, and you do not. So they're going to play it safe. They get the kill. Yet again, more gold injected into Nukes. But that is just going to be that at the end of the day. Yeah, they're not going to get that Nash. They don't have the resources in order to go for an extended trade, it feels like.
Yep, for sure. I agree. But now we're just kind of in this constant state of low state. You're dwindling away at the gold lead slowly but surely. It's like around a 7K now as we approach this. But we're going to get longer into this game to where eventually, you know, DDG is going to hit their maximum scaling point, and you're still going to be kind of behind. And then they're just going to be like, okay, we're full built, we're full scaled. We'll just go ahead and fight you no matter what. We have nothing else, nothing left to farm, nothing left to do. And you still have to farm. You still have to play into us. And so at some point, like, while these decisions, I agree, they're committing so much that that they can't make these decisions. At some point, you gotta go for a you gotta take a risk. You gotta flip something. You gotta go somewhere, do something, because if you just play the game out the way it is, this one pick every 5 minutes or so isn't going to help you get back in this game.
But an opportunity presenting itself in about 15 seconds here for the side of Boomers over Zoomers. Troy pushing down into the bot lane, just trying to create prio on both side lanes around this neutral objective. Kaz maybe looking for Evil Lobster. I like how they're fighting for this mid priority. So far, the numbers advantage heavily favoring Boomers over Zoomers, but the move on up from DDG to maybe look for a flank, maybe look for a pick. Troy waiting in the wings. Vision of Empire notably separated from his team. This is a 5v5 that could break open the game. The dragon has been started.
Jamarquez, don't move, Jamarquez. No, you don't want to go there. The Dominant Prog into the stun. He's going to be able to assassinate the Nami. It's a 2-man Drowsy this time around, but is it going to be enough to be able to save himself? No, it will not. Flashing on forward with the ultimate will be Vision of Empire. Is able to find Noosh. Okay, that's 2-for-1 trade-off at the moment. Can they continue to pummel this one on in? Brainy Fan has contested this entire fight. The 4th shot isn't enough damage. Yes, it's going to be a double kill for Vision of Empire. Can they clean up this dragon, though? They're going to go ahead and start it and should be able to finish it. No one really, the only one left alive is Jamarquez, so, I mean, who's going to be able to potentially even steal it from it? But gotta be the highlight of that team fight. Brainy Fan went the entire time without burning either sums or any of his health bars. So either two things happened. He just wasn't present in the fight, or nobody was able to get to him, and he got perfect calling call, uncontested, and just excellent positioning.
And second game in a row, Brainy Fan first on the Varus, now on the Jhin, kind of the unsung hero of Drop Dead Gaming in this series. The player that hasn't gotten a lot of attention by, you know, us casters or boomers over zoomers, it feels, because like you said, that Jhin not having to burn the flash, not having to burn the barrier, free hitting that entire fight because BOZ were so focused on taking it down the Lilia. They did not see the other threat rearing its ugly head, or should I say mask, in that fight. And now they've got the 3 Ocean Dragons. They are 1 step away from Soul, 1 fight potentially away from the 2-0, and now the next fight going to take place potentially at this Baron. I like the zoning from Drop Dead Gaming here. Troy on the bot lane does have the teleport available if a fight should break out. Vision of Empire going to break that top side as well. Get some push in there. Baron has been started. No vision directly on the Nash, so BOZ can only guess what the HP is. They might not even know it started, Cilantro.
They gotta beware. They have to be. The rift is too quiet. A little too quiet. They only see the Renekton now. So they gotta be aware. Kazi's gonna go ahead and spot if it's already done to 2k. It's too little, too
They got
late.
it.
Kaz can't be able to get there in time to stop it. Root doesn't come on down, but the little Lullaby will be committed onto the Skarner Tidal Wave 2.
Good Tidal Wave.
W from Evil Lobster. Curtain Call is coming on out. Gritty not able to find the damage onto Brandy Fan, and Troy comes on in first. He got the flash, and the Impale's gonna come on down onto the Crocodile, but I'm sorry. He eats scorpions for lunch, dinner, and breakfast, and apparently he likes some burnt too, because Bran is the next one to fall. Noosh forces on forward with the flash. Is gonna be able to get that golden on out of Evil Lobster, tired of dying first in these team fights after hitting these massive ultimates, and they're going to continue this chase on down onto the Auction. Should be able to fall here next. Is Brady Fan able to pick up that one, and they're going to barrel forward with this Baron up. This could be it. This could spell defeat. This could be G in game number 2. Troy going to push on forward onto Kazi. Wants to find Jamarquez, forces out the flash into your base, though. All you could go is to your fountain, bubble straight onto Troy, but it's not enough. Your defending champions take game number 1 of Immortal League Split in 2-0 dominant fashion.
Dominant, definitely, I would say, an understatement. And despite the delays, despite all of the setbacks on the technical side, it was dominant from start to finish, and I really got to credit every single player on this squad. But I really want to highlight Troy, right? This is a squad that a lot of people are familiar with, the defending champions. Troy, he comes in kind of an unknown face, at least in, you know, our regards. Cilantro has big shoes to fill and fills them tremendously. This Renekton, particularly in that last fight, able to get a monster flank off, really trapping all of the members of BOZ from escaping, sort of ticking off the bomb that inevitably exploded the Nexus. So well done to him, well done to DDG, looking dominant as ever, and really going to potentially be the team to beat going forward here by a lot of the other teams in the Immortal League.
Yep, they're definitely going to be the one on everyone's hit list. I mean, heavy as the crowd, are we right?
Yeah.
Heavy is the crowd indeed, but congratulations to DDG. We have a lot looking forward to you for the rest of the season. Can you go back to back At least no one's gone back to back the time I've been casting for the Immortal League, so maybe y'all have their sights set on doing it. Troy has got to be the MVP for me from this series, because not only did he come out as a brand new player for this squad, we had not seen him in this league for DDG, comes out and puts on a stellar performance. So I don't know what happened between them and Neversaw, but I mean, Troy, it's looking like this DDG with Troy is picking up right where they left off last split. So that's going to go ahead and do it for us. It's been one long of a night. So those of you stuck with us, you true and true Troy fans in chat, we've been seeing lots of Drop Dead Gaming fans in chat. Shout outs to Boz. Welcome to the Titan Immortal League, and what a welcome it was for you guys. But thanks to everybody for tuning with us through all of the issues that we had. Shout outs to Boogie helping, and Chris, and as well as Adam and behind the scenes doing our lovely observing. All those guys helped us get back onto the stream for you guys through all those issues. So that's all from us. We will see you next Thursday, but make sure you follow us on all of our socials to see the rest of the games for the rest of our leagues coming up next week. So bye-bye.
I don't know what you want. Let's have a bit of fun till I downfall. My love, if you feel like I do right now, don't say you're on the run to the other side, my love. Try, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose. You say you wanna cry, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose. Let's have a bit of fun till I downfall. My love, if you feel like I do right now, don't say you're on the run to the other side, my love. You say you wanna try, but you never do. Sugar, there's a